Hi and welcome to this episode of Conversation with a Chef. I'm Jo Ritty and I love sharing with you the conversations I get to have with talented and passionate chefs. It's the backstory, if you will, to the food they're putting up. I begin today by acknowledging the Wurundjeri and Bunurong people of the Kulin Nation, traditional custodians of the lands where this conversation took place. Land which was never ceded, land where communities came together to eat seasonally, locally and without exhausting resources. I pay my respects to their elders past and present and to any First Nations people listening today. Callum Nugent might be new to Stokehouse Pasta Bar, but he's no stranger to high-pressure kitchens. Since stepping into his first official head chef role in December, he's embraced the challenge with enthusiasm. His love of food started young. He remembers being glued to TV cooking shows at just 3 years old and spending time in the kitchen with his mum, nonna and godmother. With experience at places like Chateau Yering, Dinner by Heston and a formative 18-month stage in San Sebastian when he was 19, Callum has shaped his leadership style around balance, precision and creativity, discipline and support. He's passionate about keeping his team inspired, changing the menu every 2 weeks and making sure hospitality is as rewarding for those in the kitchen as it is for those at the table. How are you?
Very nice to meet you, Callum.
Nice to meet you. Yeah.
Very nice to meet you. Do you want to... we've got a table over there.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
So stormy, that sea. It's amazing, isn't it?
I was going to say it's complete contrast to yesterday when it was beautiful.
I know.
And like the water yesterday had like this blue tinge to it because like the sun was setting. It was beautiful.
It's so crazy, isn't it? But it's so cinematic to have whatever the weather, I reckon. Like it's like a big screen, isn't it, of looking out at all of that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I think you'll be maybe the 289th episode.
Wow. That's
Yeah. So I've been doing it for a few years.
That's
It's
awesome.
really lovely just to hear people's stories and I think and share them. So yeah.
For sure.
So thank you for reaching out as well.
Of
really
course.
nice it's nice to know that chefs feel like it's a valuable thing to do, like it would be, it's all about uplifting hospitality, I think.
It is about uplifting hospitality and getting that kind of insight into like the kitchen and what it's like, I guess. But it's really cool. So, yeah, it's awesome.
And how long have you been at Stokehouse?
Literally only been here about 4 months now.
Okay.
So I literally started mid-December.
Yeah.
And kind of thrown in the deep end a little bit with how busy we were and the kitchen, but everything was going really well. Like it's absolutely stunning to work here. So awesome. Yeah.
Is this your first head chef role?
First official head chef role. I've done like stand-in kind of like acting head chef I did that for about 3 to 4 years.
Yeah.
And then so this is my first one. Yeah. So,
wow, and something like Stokehouse, it's so, as you say, so full on. It's so busy and it's got such a name as well.
Yeah, it has. It's got a really big name, and I think it was. I didn't think I knew how big it was until I came here.
Yeah.
And I've been here before, and I've had the shared tables, luncheons here, and all that kind of stuff as like a younger chef.
Yeah.
But I think just seeing the Van Handel Group, owning who owns Stokehouse, like having that kind of and then seeing what they did in the past and what they're doing now and what they're planning for the future, and I think it's just really cool.
Yeah.
And it's a very inclusive and very, very modern business, which is really good.
It's great.
So
what's the process if you apply for a job as head chef and you haven't been working in a place, you haven't worked your way up to that? Like, what do you have to show them?
Well, yeah, it's really like it was very interesting because like it's not more like when you're going for like a chef de partie role or a commis chef role, you go in and you show them your skills, you show them how to cook. For a head chef, you still need to know how to cook, but you need to know how to manage people. You need to know how to do your timesheets. You need to know how to do your roster. You need to know how to manage people. You need to know your team environment. Are you good with people? You need to know budgets and numbers and all these types of things as well. So it's more about an interview, like those many interview processes. When you get that higher up, it's about going, cool, okay, for here I had like 4 interviews before the actual job.
Yeah, right.
So it's about knowing, cool, okay, have you done this before? Yes. What did that entail?
Yeah.
Did you do your COGS? Did you do your labour reports? Did you do your stock take every month? you know, how do you handle your wastage, all those types of like little questions.
Yeah.
Which is what you need to think about when you're going for that kind of role, I guess.
And what sort of style of leadership do you think you have? Are you is that something you've had to cultivate, or has it come naturally to you?
I think it's something it was very strange. I have worked somewhere before, and I worked in a few places before this, and they were very high-profile restaurants, and places like Heston Blumenthal and overseas in San Sebastian, and it was knowing from those experiences what I want and what I do not want. Yeah. Like, there's so many things, you know, when I look back to my 19-year-old self in Spain, which I go, my God, that was amazing, but the way they manage people was just ridiculous. But then, you know, you go somewhere like Heston's where it's such a positive culture, you know, but the hours are long and it's, you know, you're doing, you know, 15, 16-hour days. And it's about managing. For me, it was about seeing that and going, cool, this is what I want to do. Like, this is how I want to manage people. Like, I want to make sure they have their lifestyle, they do their 38 hours, they go home. Yeah. You know, for the more senior guys that want to work towards something, fantastic, but they still need to have a life outside work. Yeah. And, you know, I think for me, I have and, you know, speaking to Jason, who is the executive chef, I think him and I have a very similar mindset of that kind of how to manage people, and a very modern chef mindset, because there are restaurants out in Melbourne, and quite a few of them, who still have that older chef mentality, an older way of managing people. Yeah. And, you know, I think seeing like a business consultant or something like that to kind of know how to manage people was like one thing I did and still do that really helps kind of solidify how I do it, if that makes sense.
And then there's that aspect too of just, I don't want to say stress because I don't want to put that out there. I'm sure that the kitchen's a finely choreographed piece of machinery, but how do you, in that heat of service, I guess you've got your own pressures on you. How do you then manage other people feeling stressed or anxious?
Look, I think it's, for me, it's about communication. Like, my team know when they're stressed. You know, I'm getting to know my team. I've only been here 4 months, but I'm getting to know them, and I get to know their patterns and what they do and when they do it. And if they go quiet or I don't hear anything from them, that means that they need some help. Yeah. You know, they need assistance, or they need that pressure taken off them because I can't do it. Yeah. You know, and I think it's about making sure, like, I still go around to my team. I go around to every single person and go, hey, how are you? How did you go today? Still debrief with them, make sure they're good. Yeah. And then they tell me all the issues I have. And it's my responsibility to fix those things for them. So then they don't have to think about that. Yeah. Like, I want them to be cooking and I want them to be enjoying their job. You know, I want to take that stress away from them. But during service, it gets difficult. You know, when you, like, last weekend just yesterday we did 350 people all day. Like, you know, 220 of that was a dinner service. Wow. So I think it's just about managing your team the best you possibly can.
And how many in the team?
So there's 17 at the moment. At any one time, there's probably about 4 to 7 chefs on at once. Yeah. So.
Yeah, it's a lot of people to get to know as well, isn't it? And to problem solve or to anticipate for them what might come up.
Yeah, no, it is. And I think it's, I don't know, for me, that's what I kind of like about my role, is that I get to be around the different people and I get to know, you know, the different personalities in the kitchen. Because to me, it's not like, some people find it quite difficult to try and get to know and then get to know people and get to know how they work. And I think a lot of managers who I've worked for have that kind of one-size-all-fits approach where they don't kind of tailor their management style to that one style. And for me, it's about getting to know what works for that person. Yeah. So the way I manage someone, you know, in a chef's party role versus someone who else is also in a chef's party role, but it might be completely different. You know, like, one of my team members is absolutely amazing and he does an amazing job, but if I need to have a serious conversation with him, he won't, like, if I sit down with him, he won't talk to me. And he just gets stunned by it. Yeah, I'm like, okay, that's fine. Got to know him a little bit, can have serious conversations during the middle of service and get the answers I want. it's not, so it's about adapting what I would normally do to what they need.
Yeah.
And it's about making sure they, have the support they need and have the guidance they need as well.
Yeah, amazing. And have you done a menu change since you've been here?
So many menu changes.
Oh, have you? Oh.
Yeah. So basically down here it's about every 2 weeks.
Oh, is it right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So not the whole menu, but at least 2 to 3 things every 2 weeks.
And is that something that you take care of solely, or do you work in with Jason? Or
So basically how it goes is we normally do so I come up with an idea, or my team does as well. So I give them, if they have a really good idea, I'll be like, sweet, let's work on it. Let's workshop it and taste it. And I think we just work together with Jason. I come up with the dish, I set a time, tasting happens, everyone tastes the dish, everyone's happy, it goes on the menu. Like, it's just kind of a collaborative approach. I think at the end of the day, Jason does have that sign off.
Yeah.
But I think the ideas, and the creativity really come from like my team and myself, which is really cool.
And what are the parameters? I'm just suddenly thinking, when you come into a new restaurant, there's obviously like a limit. Or there's what do I want to say, like a template of the kinds of dishes and flavours or ingredients that you use. How do you get to know that?
It is so hard. Look, I worked at I worked at the RSME Club, and I was managing the fine dining restaurant there, a wine bar, and Sojourn, which is a pop-up restaurant. And all three of them have very distinct personalities, I like to call them. And it's basically, I came up with 3 buzzwords for each restaurant that made me kind of focus in on what that restaurant was about. And then that kind of defined its clientele, and then it defined its menu, and then it defined the creativity and the menu development. Because, when you had a fine dining restaurant up in, the main building, and it was members only, and the demographic was, your 50s to 70-year-olds. And they come in, they have their classic French meals, and then they want to go home.
Yeah.
Whereas, Sojourn is more of was a 25 to 40 demographic. And you can be a little more experimental with the food. You can be more colourful and out there, and you can pair flavours which people might go, oh, that's a little bit strange, but it tastes amazing. And here it was more, Jason said to me, he said, it's Italian in feel, but it's Melbourne. Like it's Melbourne, and it's a Melbourne restaurant, but it's an Italian in feel, Italian in flavour, and knowing that demographic is also really important to creating the menu. And there's all these things we do, which is like menu engineering and menu analysis, which basically tells you how much of every item is sold.
Okay.
And then I go, cool, okay, if I want to do a menu change, what's selling really well? Cool, I'm not going to pull that off the menu because everyone loves it. But something that's not selling as well is not being received as well by the customers, so I'll change that one instead.
Yeah.
And I think some chefs have that ability to do that, and that's fantastic. And I think some restaurants that's where I reckon some restaurants struggle, is having that ability and that kind of ability to step back and look at the situation and go, that's actually not working. And it's okay to say it's not working and to modify it.
Yeah.
And to go, have that humbleness to go, actually, no, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay, it doesn't work. And I understand, because I had multiple times where my old exec chef would come up to me and he's like, can't do it. And I get so frustrated and get so annoyed, and I wouldn't understand why. But I'm like, well, at the end of the day, if the customers are going to pay for it, it can't be on the menu.
Yeah.
So, and it takes a little bit of time for that mentality to kind of set in.
Yeah.
And then it kind of goes, cool, well, this is what we do.
And so in terms of changing the menu every couple of weeks, is that because of the produce that's in, or how's that driven?
Yeah, so at Stokehouse, upstairs and downstairs, so Pasta Bar as well. So Pasta Bar is all about the seasonality of things, so it's more about making sure we're working with sustainable like farms and smaller businesses. So those sustainable farms and businesses go through menu changes, and so seasonality changes quicker and sometimes slower. It kind of depends on the season. But at the moment, for example, pie mushrooms coming into season, and those types of things with this rain, hopefully. And then things like quince and stuff like that, and you'll see those the really boutique suppliers coming in and going, cool, we've got, 20 kilos of peppers this week, do you want them? I'll be like, sick, absolutely, we'll put them on as a special. And it supports that small farm, but it also gives us amazing produce at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's about, communicating with those suppliers and getting the best from them, I guess.
That's so interesting though, isn't it? And it must be fun to come to work when it is changing all the time, like you're not just having to do the same thing over and over.
Well, I think that was one thing which I really liked about here was, Jason said to me, he's like, it's your restaurant. Like, I'm here to help you and support you, but at the end of the day, it's your restaurant, your team, your kitchen, and you can do what you like. I'm like, well, that's cool. And to me, it's like, well, the team don't want to be cooking the same thing for, 3 to 4 months, every 3 to 4 months and just doing specials.
Yeah.
Like, having that ability to, change that menu so frequently is something that keeps everyone really interested.
Yeah.
Because it's like, cool, they walk in and go, cool, what's happening this week?
Yeah.
I think the week they have off of menu change, sometimes they're like, thank God, because they're like, cool, they don't have to do anything this week.
Yeah.
Do anything different. But I think a lot of the time, like, my chefs come up to me and they're like, cool, can I do this? I'm like, give it a try.
Yeah.
We had one guy do a dish, wasn't quite up to where we wanted to, so, we gave him pointers and, he'll work on it and come back and then it'll go on the menu. And, the guy, we had a carbonara on as a special this weekend, and this one chef, I said to him, it's your special. Like, you come up with the recipe, you test it, and then you come up to me and give it to me. Like, I want you to pretend I'm a customer. And, it took him 4 or 5 tries, and then he got it right.
Yeah.
And, I think, and he kept, and, he'd bring it up to me, and I was like, and I'll give him, like, some pointers, or, not as much salt, too much cheese, or the guanciale is too big, or something like that, and he'd go, I'm sorry, chef. I'm like, you don't have to be sorry. Like, just, it's fine. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you're just testing it, it's development.
Yeah,
like,
that's
it's recipe development and trials and testers. Like, how do you think we know how something tastes without tasting it?
Yeah.
And I think, every single time we turn out a pasta, it's like you have to taste it.
Yes.
It doesn't matter how many pastas you do, but you might have forgot to season that one correctly. Or the fish stock wasn't as reduced down or something like that, right? So it's all about making sure it's...
Yeah. And I see your tweezers. What are you using those for?
Everything and anything, basically. Yeah. So, like, I'd be putting things on plates, I'd be picking up, literally pick up, scallops off the grill and... Yeah.
That says to me you're quite a precision chef, are you?
Yes, I am, yeah. I'm a bit of a perfectionist, and it has... Sometimes it is to my hindrance, I think. But it's also a good thing, I think, to make sure that we give the best we possibly can. It was like this. We have a function coming up. It's the biggest function that Stokehouse has ever done, and that Pasta Bar has ever done as business since we opened. And it occurred to me after the tasting we did that I'd never done anything of that magnitude before, and I did the tasting and I didn't get it right. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, how did I not get this right? And I was so annoyed with myself.
What wasn't right?
Just it's a canapé function.
Okay.
And it's, the canapé, it's got a canapés and it's got a seafood raw bar. And then this room right now is actually turning into a mini restaurant. So it's a restaurant within a restaurant, and you got the seafood raw bar as well. And the canapés just weren't quite right. They just didn't fit the vibe of the restaurant, and they didn't fit the client, what we thought they were going to be.
Yeah.
We had this vision, and sometimes it takes a couple of tries to get there, I guess.
Yeah.
And the perfectionist in me, when I didn't get it right, was so annoyed.
Yeah.
And I think, Jason saw it, and he said to me, he's like, it's fine. Like, that's why we do tastings. And it's like I said, sometimes it is a hindrance, but then I did it the second time, and I was like, yes, this is what I want to be doing.
Yeah.
Like, this is exactly right. And Jason came in and he's like, this is 1,000 times better.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's right. All these, they're all learning opportunities, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly right.
Even no matter how far along you are, you want to still have those moments of being humbled a little bit to take stock of things. So
Yeah, exactly right. And you have to be, right?
That's right. So where did it all start for you? Did you always know you wanted to be a chef?
Yeah, look, I did. I think from so young, I was from about 3-4 years old, I was like literally always either in front of the TV watching cooking shows with my mum, or like with my nonna when she was cooking. I'd be in the kitchen with her, and my godmother. They were probably the 3 biggest influences for me when I was younger, and still are. And I think I love food. Like my nonna was, being a Sicilian Italian, she was very all about food, and so was my family. Like my godmother and my mum, the same thing. And I just grew up that food was, it's right in front of you. You can't get away from it. And I think there's an element of that which I brought into like my role now. It's like I still do the same thing. Like food brings people together and shows you how you love them, and if I cook a really nice meal for my partner, he knows it's my way of saying love you lots, but like I might not be able to be there that weekend because I'm working. Here's the food you can take. And I think it's just about, for me, it was just like it all started with that, and to this day I still make all my nonna's dishes at home, and I cook a lot on my days off and all that kind of stuff too. So,
yeah, right.
Yeah.
And when you're doing that kind of cooking on your day off, or when you're experimenting with things, do you take notes, or is it all like mental notes, or do you just, is it like a feeling thing now, or
it is more of a feeling thing now, and it gets quite frustrating, to be honest, because I'm not very good at taking notes when I need to. So I'm like, it really tasted good, and then my partner, he'd look at me and go, did you write that down? I'm like, no, I forgot.
We'll never have this again.
We'll never have this again, dear, but it was lovely. No, so I think it's more about, for me, about feeling. When I'm in the kitchen, like in a professional circumstance, I am more in the mindset of, cool, I've got to write this down because it's a recipe and I need to replicate it.
Yeah.
But I think some of the best things I've done are things that I just come up with in about half an hour. And for some reason, they just work. And they're amazing. So, and I'll go, shit, that was really good. Like, I actually surprised myself. Like, oh, that was nice. I didn't think that was going to work.
Yeah.
So,
what are your favourite things to cook?
Honestly, pasta.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, and I'm in a pasta,
yeah,
so it's like works
right
perfectly.
Place,
yeah. No, honestly, pasta, and probably like Italian food for me.
Nice.
And I think, having that, having the wood-fired grill, especially over here as well, like that's like, a lot of chefs dream of having that kind of thing.
Yeah,
because
that's
it's
right.
such a cool thing, and it's a hands-on kind of approach to cooking.
Yeah.
You're controlling the fire, controlling the heat, and it's during, if you're on a cover service like last night, it does get a bit difficult. But, because you can't just turn down the dial and turn the heat down.
No. Is that the first time you've used one of those? Or
No, I've been in a few places that have used.
You've got to really learn that stuff, don't you?
You do, yeah. And I think it takes a while to learn.
Yeah.
Because it is such a different approach to cooking. Like, like I said, you can't just turn down the dial and the heat goes down. Like for us, we've got a big wheel, and you turn the wheel and the tray goes up and the tray goes down, and that's how you control your heat. And you move the coals around, and that that controls it as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And like we had a lot of steaks last night. Steaks use up like twice the amount of fire that we normally do.
Yeah.
So it's about knowing, cool, I've got to put more fire on if I get more steaks.
Yeah.
So it's really cool.
So much to think about.
Yeah.
But so just going back to younger you, when you started out,
Yes.
I know you had that amazing experience really early on. How did the San Sebastian come about?
So I was doing my apprenticeship at homeschooling, and basically I started there, and then the top two students of our class went to Spain. So it was myself and another guy. He went to Mugaritz, and then I went to Arzak. And my kind of stage there was about 18 months.
It's a long stage.
It was very long, yes. Very, very long stage.
So that's unpaid.
So yeah, that kind of thing's unpaid.
Yeah.
Homeschooling did have a fundraiser for me at the time. And my parents did help me quite a bit whilst I was over there, obviously.
Why so long, do you think? That's an amazing experience.
I was stuck.
It really solidifies everything that time.
Literally, yeah.
I think often stages about like 3 months or something, aren't they?
Yeah, so the guy I went with, Liam, his stage in Mugaritz was 3 to 4 months. And he came about right in the middle of like my stage, so I was like beginning to miss home and wanting some home stuff, and then he came, and I'm like, thank God, someone who is from Melbourne. And I think it was just a whole different world for me. 19 years old, never been overseas before, never spoke Spanish.
No.
So it was a very different experience.
And fine dining, was it?
Yeah. So this was the world number...
Oh, this was there, right?
Yeah, so world number 6 restaurant. Yeah. And was chucked into... Didn't know a word of Spanish on my first day. And I got chucked into petit fours, which you think would really be easy. And they were doing like chocolates. It was the banner, the thing that it was on, it was like Arzak's toolbox, and it had all these tools made out of chocolate. I'm like, well, this is cool. Like, you melt the chocolate, put it in a mold, demold it, put it on a plate, nice and simple. I'm like, cool, this is easy. And then I had to communicate with the waiters and the waitresses and the front of house. And I'm like, I can't do this. Like, I don't know Spanish. And I think it was like my 3rd or 4th day. I rang my mum and I'm like, get me home. I was on the phone in tears, and I was like, I don't want to be here anymore. Like, it's hard. It's funny that you weren't like picking herbs or something, or like washing. It feels like you were thrown in the deep end there. Well, yeah, a little bit. And I think like my first, I think all the stages who were there for that long, they do have their 3-month ones, and it's sort of the 6 month, and I was part of the longer term team. And I think, I went to every section in the kitchen, and we were, from cooking meat, fish, garnish,
amazing,
everything. So, and I think you learn, like, that's where I learned, the precision and the attention to detail and all these things that I now know that sometimes I forget of what is common sense for me. I have to teach my team members, like they don't know that. So that's on, like, I want to teach them what I know. Yeah. And what I learned there.
So how did you get through that toolbox scenario?
Being dyslexic, it was quite difficult because there was writing involved as well. Fortunately, there was a guy in pastry who was American, and I sort of teamed up with him and another girl who was Mexican. So they spoke some English. So I was like, cool, I need some help. And I think, look, language immersion, you chucked in there every single day. I was fluent in Spanish in like 3 months. So it was just more about trying to understand what I could have, what they wanted. Yeah. And then when I didn't understand something, I could go to those people and be like, look, this is what I need. Like, I need to know how to say this is sent to a table, this isn't sent to a table, this is away, this is on hold, like all these different things. I'm like, can you just teach me the main words of what I need to know to get through this period of time?
Necessity is such a good teacher, isn't it?
It is. It really is. And like having that immersion into that kind of culture. And, by the time I was needing to leave, and I said to my mum, the only reason I'm coming home is because I don't have any money. Yeah. Like, I had friends, I had my own little family, I was in my own apartment.
Well, it's a real coming of age over that period of time as well. Like, that's quite a crucial point of you forming your identity and everything. So, like, how amazing.
And yeah, it was absolutely awesome. And I think, the team I worked with over there was such a, there was 50 chefs in there. And, 40 of them were starters. So we all kind of were bonded together in that, and, went out every weekend, and we went out every Saturday, Sunday, and worked till 3 a.m. Like, that's what we did. Yeah. And, I look back at it now and I go, how the hell did I do it? Yeah. But I wouldn't have traded it for anything. Yeah. So
and just said, what did you do when you came back?
Went back to, so that was my second and a half year of my apprenticeship. Then I did finish my apprenticeship at Chateau Yering with Matthew McCartney, so I finished there. And then I went on to some other wineries around the Yarra Valley. Then I went to Heston Blumenthal. So
that was here?
Yeah, so the one they opened up in Melbourne. Yeah. So.
Gosh, some amazing people were there, weren't they? Because I've spoken to a few chefs that worked
they're awesome.
Like Garth Whitten and...
And
Aidan, the pastry
Aidan,
chef.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, they're awesome.
So then I guess, was that stopped because of lockdowns? Did you finish there because of lockdowns, or would you already...
I think I've honestly finished there because I was part of the opening team. So I was there for about a year and a half, 2 years.
Okay.
And I think knowing what I know now about the industry and that kind of lifestyle, it's only sustainable for a certain period of time, you know. And I think for me, I kind of reached my time there at, you know, that year and a half, 2 year mark.
Yeah.
And I was like, cool, I need to just step back from this kind of level of cooking for a while, because that was a kind of level of cooking, being the best and having that attention to detail and the long hours and the mental load it takes on you. You know, I was used to that, and, you know, I think I wanted to go back to that, because I had a little break. I went to some wineries. I'm like, no, like, I miss the fine dining, and I miss the attention to detail, I miss the tweezers, I miss the herbs, I miss, you know, learning how to do things.
Yeah.
And the precision, and, you know, this, you know, you have to do it this way, it has to be done like this because of this reason. You know, learning all the science behind cooking and all that kind of stuff was really fun from Heston's point of view. Like learning why we do things. You know, why do we cook the rice like that? Why don't we call it risotto? Why, you know, why all these things? And it's really interesting.
Yeah.
You know, like, there was one person's job was to do triple cut chips all day long. And one person's job was actually to toast during service, and that's all they did. For like their meat fruit that's shaped like a mandarin.
Yeah.
That's all they did.
What did you do there?
I did both of those things. And I did larder, hot larder, and garnish.
Yeah.
And it was just like the head chef, what's his name now? And he just was a really nice guy. And the sous chef, Max, who was awesome. And I think it was the first place I worked where you could be at that level of fine dining and be so captivated by what you do that actually had a good staff culture and was good to their staff and were in the right environment, basically. Because it's such an important thing. Because if you don't have a happy team or a good team, you can't function.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Absolutely. Wow. And how did you go over lockdown? What did you do?
I had literally just started at the RACB club prior to lockdown, so about a month before lockdown I started there. And my executive chef and the management team there, fortunately we were doing basically community meals for the homeless and the less fortunate. We were doing that for about the first lot of 2020. Yeah. That's what we were doing. And I was extremely fortunate where I wasn't one of the team members who was put on stand down. And for the majority throughout all the lockdowns, I think I wasn't working for about 3 months.
Okay.
Which was extremely
That's
fortunate.
really good, yeah.
Yeah. Really, really fortunate.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you know, you said that you cook, you love cooking at home.
Yeah.
Where do you get your inspiration? Do you look at Instagram? Do you do lots of cookbooks? What do you...
At home, I love cookbooks. Love cookbooks, and I flip through them and go, cool, that's what I want for dinner. And I think that's where I get my inspiration. But sometimes, like today, grey all day, it's windy and rainy, I want to go home and have, you know, nonna's ragu. Like, that's like literally all I want to have for dinner tonight.
Yeah.
Because that's what makes me feel good and happy.
Yeah.
You know, and I think for me, when like I am looking for something to eat or do, it's what would make me happy. And you know, eating makes me happy, and cooking makes me happy. So, yeah.
So good. Well, with all the experience that you've had, and now in this role, what would your advice be to young people starting out as chefs?
Oh wow, that's a very good question. I'm not sure, to be honest. I think I think it would be to find a place that you are comfortable being yourself in. I think a lot of chefs, young chefs, try to be the best and try to be, you know, everything they possibly can, and try to fit in a culture. But for me, it was more about making sure that I can be myself, and you know, if I wanted to do something that was a little bit out there or a little bit different, that it wouldn't be looked at weird or like, why do you do that for?
Yeah.
You know, and I think there's like one dish I paired with. I think I paired Great Ocean ducks, which I love their produce, and I paired strawberries with their duck. And I'm like, I would have never have done that. I would have been too self-conscious or too like, oh no, don't do that. Like, that's not probably right. But like for me, it's like, no, like go with your gut, because you'll learn from it.
Yeah.
And you'll learn what doesn't work and what does work. You know, the workplace you go for the interview, if it doesn't feel right, it doesn't feel right. Even if it's the best place in Melbourne, if it doesn't feel right, it's okay. It's okay not to go to the best place in Melbourne. It's okay to, you know, go somewhere that you feel happier. And it's okay to make sure you have a life, and chefing doesn't become your life. Because I think a lot of chefs make it their lives, and it's all like that's their world.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to have that balance, and for the younger chefs in the industry to find that balance, because more often than not, when you go for a job at, you know, a place like Society or something with that caliber, you go, that's all that's work is my life, and I don't do anything else. And it's like, well, no, like you need a life to function, you need life to sustain you, and you need friends and a partner and your family. So, yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
That's okay, of course.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Conversation with a Chef with Callum Nugent at Stokehouse Pasta Bar. You can check out all the goodness on Instagram at Stokehouse Pasta Bar. That's all one quite long word. If you'd like to hear more stories from other chefs, I'm also on Instagram at Conversation with a Chef. Can't really hear the stories there, but you can see when I put a new one up. You can read the chat and become a subscriber at www.conversationwithachef.com. And of course, you can follow me on Apple and Spotify podcasts. I would absolutely love it if you told a friend about my chats, because that's still the best way to get the stories out there. Once again, thanks so much for listening. Have a great day and bon appetit.